Okay, we're going to start off by working with the vocabulary, and in order to do so I want you to copy this picture down. Make sure you're using your ruler to get nice straight lines, and once you finish that we'll go ahead and answer this question. Pause the video and then we will answer this question. Name a pair of acute adjacent angles. So adjacent, we just learned, are angles that are right next to each other. They share a common side. So if you can see acute angles that are right next to each other, we have angle CBD is next to angle DBE, and it's clear that each of them is less than 90 degrees. So a pair of acute adjacent angles would be CBD and angle DBE. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and see if you can come up with at least one more pair of adjacent angles that are also acute. And there are actually two more pairs, but see if you can come up with one, and then I'll show you my answers. Okay, if you did not get either of these two choices for your answer, raise your hand and let's see what we can do to fix that. Okay, the next question is, I'd like for you to name a pair of angles that form a linear pair. So if you remember, a linear pair is formed by opposite rays and it forms a straight line. So you're looking for a point and then one ray going in one direction, another ray going in the other direction. And we can see that anytime you can pick out a straight line. So I can see a straight line here, and then you name the two angles that form that straight line. So we could highlight CBA, and our pair of linear angles would be angle ABC and angle CBE. So now I'd like for you to pause the video and see if you can come up with another pair of angles that form a linear pair. And CBE and EBF, that's just an example that I came up with, but if you came up with something else, please raise your hand and let me know, and I'll be happy to check it for you. And then a pair of vertical angles. Vertical angles are formed by two straight lines, and they are directly across from each other. They are non-adjacent. They do not share a common side. So the only pair of vertical angles that we have, one straight line, two straight lines. So the pair would be angle CBA and EBF. So that's here and here. And then actually there is one more pair, and that would be CBE and ABF. Okay, this next example will take you just a minute to copy down. I'd like for you to write down the problem. Find X and Y so that line PR and SQ are perpendicular. Remember, perpendicular means 90 degrees. They intersect at 90 degrees. If PR is perpendicular to SQ, then that means that STR is 90. So you can put a right angle bar or box here. And PTQ is also 90. So you can put a right angle box there. So go ahead and copy the example down and I'll show you how to find X, and then you'll go ahead and find Y. So using angle addition, in order to find X, we know that these two angles are 90 degrees. It says that the angles are 90 degrees. So the sum of these two angles, the 2x and the 5x plus 6, is 90 degrees. So angle addition, 2x plus 5x plus 6 equals 90 degrees. I would combine my like terms. 2x and 5x is 7x plus 6 is 90. I would subtract 6 from both sides. 7x equals 84. And then dividing by 7, I would get x is 12. So you're going to do the same process, except you don't have two angles, you just have one angle. that equals 90. So go ahead and set up your equation, solve for y, pause the video and see if you get what I get. Okay, you should get y equals 23. If you do not get y equals 23, go ahead and raise your hand and I'll be happy to come on over and help you. Okay, the next example, go ahead and take a minute, copy this down in your notes. The measures of two complementary angles are 7x plus 7 and 3x minus 20. So what does complementary mean? Find the measures of the angles. So we've got two steps here. Find x and then substitute x back in to find out what the measures of each angle is. So complementary means that their sum, the angle's sum, is 90 degrees. So that means this angle plus this angle equals 90 degrees. That's what complementary means. So we will set up our equation to reflect this. Angle 7x plus 17 plus 3x minus 20, they have a sum of 90 degrees. I will go ahead and combine my like terms. A 7x and a 3x is 10x. A 17 and a negative 20 is negative 3. That equals 90. Adding 3 to both sides, I get 10x is 93. And if I divide by 10 on both sides, I get x is 9.3. We don't want to stop there. It says find the measures of the angles. So what I'd like for you to do is pause the video and substitute this x into each expression, 7x plus 17 and 3x minus 20, and see if you get what I get for each angle pair. And after you substitute your x back in, you should get 82.1 degrees and 7.9 degrees. And it's perfectly fine if you get decimals. Just make sure that 82.1 plus 7.9 is 90 degrees. And it is. All right, vertical angles. Vertical angles are two angles that are non-adjacent, formed by two straight lines, and they are congruent. So that means that their values are equal. The way we would set this up into an algebraic equation to solve for x is we would set the two expressions equal to each other, because in this figure 2x minus 10 is equal to 120 degrees. So I would like for you to take a second to solve the equation for x. Pause the video and see if you get what I get. If you didn't get 65, go ahead and raise your hand and let me know. And after we've solved for x and we got 65, let's go ahead and substitute our x back in to the expression 2x minus 10. So 2 times 65 minus 10. 2 times 65 is 130. And 130 minus 10 equals 120. So we got this expression equals 120, which shows us that the two angles are congruent. Alright, and the last example was we're going to find the value of x when we're given a linear pair. A linear pair is a pair of angles, so 1, 2, a pair of angles who form a straight line, hence the subword linear, line, linear, and their sum is not, they are not equal to each other, they are supplementary. They have a sum of 180 degrees. So this 2x plus this 4x plus 108 equals 180 degrees. So 2x plus 4x plus 108 equals 180 degrees. Okay, I'd like for you to take a second to pause the video and solve for x. Okay, you should get that x is 12. And after we found x, if you didn't get x is 12, then raise your hand. We'll work through the algebra together. We're going to go ahead and substitute our x back in to 2x. So 2 times 12, which is 24 degrees. And then substitute it back into 4x plus 108. So 4 times 12 plus 108 is 156. So this one is 24 degrees. This angle is 156 degrees. And to check our work, 156 plus 24 is 180 degrees. So these two angles equal 180 degrees. We know we did the problem correctly. All right, now we're working on our quiz review because we do have a quiz next block.